And here we are.
Here we are.
Our go live button on YouTube was grayed out to where you couldn't click it. So we were like pulling a quick little panic. What do we do?
What do we do? What do we do?
Hello, I'm Jenny.
I'm Paul.
And we are Palette Knives Out Artcast.
That's us.
And I know most of you here are our regular subscribers, I'm guessing.
Yeah, they have to be.
There was nobody on for quite a while, and we thought, oh my gosh, what if it's just us tonight? So we're happy to see that some of you came in and joined up with the stream.
Yeah.
So,
it's Kim.
Oh, hey. So let's talk about our painting tonight.
Where'd it go?
Which you ripped out really fast this week.
I did.
You want me to zoom in on it?
Yeah, I guess we can zoom in on it. Oh. Zoom, 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 zoom. There it is.
Very Oregonian. You just can't get away from that.
Yeah, so like I was driving in. Oh, the beard has grown back already. Well, I didn't do a clean shave. I just did a mostly clean shave. It's growing on me. I kind of am liking the look without the beard.
You shaved and you have a new mole under here.
That's been there for quite a while. That's been there for a while. But yeah, I actually am starting to get used to the look, and I kind of like it actually.
Okay.
But
you just wish you had the big black Magnum PI mustache.
not really.
All gray now.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was driving into work on either the end of last week. No, it must have been. Okay, bring it back. Bring it back. See, I had shaved down to just the mustache, but I haven't clean shaven back since. What day did I do that? Like Monday?
Probably. It was
Something like
of
that.
course, the day after I completely cleaned the bathroom counters.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. That's all I have to do. If I need you to shave,
Yeah.
I just clean the bathroom counters.
But you never want me to shave because you like me to have a beard.
I actually have a little bit of beard.
You say
We should actually show a picture of you from when you had the full big beard. I know I've got one.
Yeah, I had the belly that matched it. So.
Thank you. Kim says looking good.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back.
Okay, so I was driving into work. It was Monday or Tuesday, and we have this. We actually live. The town we live in, and then the town I work in. There's a small mountain between us. When I say small mountain, it's like 1,300 feet, so it's not real big. But we do get, and then we have a lot of wetlands on our side, so we get a lot of foggy mornings. And as I was driving in, I saw this hillside, and there were high clouds.
There's Paul with his big beard.
Before it turned white.
Okay, sorry. I had to find the pic.
So and that's the other thing. As Kim, as you point out, as my beard, as it's turning more gray, yeah, it definitely, I look a lot older with the beard. So anyway, so I'm driving into work, and I see this hillside of Douglas fir trees, and there's clouds up in the sky, and then there's this layer of like foggy clouds that kind of were cutting down across the trees. So then I was like, okay, I like that. Now I need something in the foreground, and I was like, okay, this looks good. I was fine with that, and then I was like, what do I do in the foreground? And I realized that I thought of all the sunflower fields around here. So I was like, let's do sunflower.
Yeah, they're all starting to bloom now, which is pretty cool.
So the sunflowers are actually pretty easy in terms of we don't get a lot of detail going on. But with all that said, we should go ahead. Silver basset hound, yeah. Daniel does, yeah.
Like a silver basset hound. I don't let the silver come in. I just go and have my hair dyed every 8 weeks.
To get back, I know we're totally getting off. I had kind of set in my mind that when I got down to my weight that I was when I graduated from high school, that I wanted to shave my beard off and see where it was. So I hit that point, and I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, I like the puffy clouds too. They're very, they're not your typical style. They're a little more
rough,
painterly, yeah.
Yeah, so there's actually a cool technique, and I had started it on the other painting, and then I liked the method I came up with, so I wanted to recreate it in this painting. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's, I'm gonna go grab.
Going Sunday. Time for the hair day.
No, I'm just gonna put this behind us.
I can get a chair.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine.
I like to look at it.
So I'm gonna start. The clouds are actually a really fun technique that I really enjoyed doing, and so we're gonna start off with our biggest brush. Let's talk about our colors real quick. We have all of our process colors of the Daler. So we have our process yellow, process magenta, process cyan, black, white, and our yellow ochre or raw sienna, whatever you have, will work. And I'll just throw this out there. Whatever paints you have will work. Like, it doesn't matter. It might just end up with a slightly different look. It's fine. It's still art. But what we're going to start out doing is we're going to mix up a little bit of magenta.
I did not expect that.
A little cyan. And a little bit of our yellow ochre, and we kind of get like a blue-ish color that's kind of got a little bit of a greenish cast. I'm going to add some white.
Looks like teal to me.
Yeah, it's kind of, well, it should be more towards lavender.
Really?
Yeah, it's just
I
kind
did
of
not
a
expect
kind of a
lavender.
dirty, stormy sea color. That's fine.
Okay.
Now, what we're going to do is I kind of want these clouds to kind of go like this. So this is the fun part. Now, if you are painting along and you want to watch this process and then rewind, go ahead and do it. But this is basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this color and I'm just going to
I did not expect this looking at your painting. Are you sure this is the right color?
It is. It's close enough. You could do it. You could go a little bit more magenta if you want to add a little bit more magenta. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Okay, so just blotchy like that. And I'm going to rinse my brush off. And I'm going to use white. And I'm just going to blot in and around.
Daniel says I'm down to my last canvas and my white is all but gone now. Well, you can't make white.
All right, so as I'm doing this, I'm taking the blotting and just kind of creating some of this puffiness.
Mine are maybe a little green.
That's all right. Now that you're getting into purple, it's okay.
Daniel, sounds like you need to make a trip to Michael's.
And then the other thing you can do is, as you're blotting this in, obviously the areas in between stay lighter. The areas where you put the darker color get tinted.
Oh, are we trying to go around the darker color? Because I was covering it.
I'm kind of going in and around and,
Okay.
and also covering too.
Okay.
And where I get to these edges, you can kind of let some little flyers. Mix and mingle.
They are open on Sunday, definitely. Definitely, and you can go online to their website and you can pick out things that you want on their website and set it up for in-store pickup if you didn't want to shop. I do that all the time because I usually know exactly what I want or what I need.
Okay. So that's all we're doing for now. Just blot it out. Make sure you've kind of blotted everything. You've let some chunks, you've left some puffs. We'll come back in later and add more white, but this is just our base. Now the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm going to paint black. Don't overwork it.
Don't look at my painting. I don't judge yours.
No, I'm just telling people, fight that instinct to blend it all out.
You looked at mine and said, don't overwork it.
Yeah, because it reminded me.
Yes, they do. They have great sales on Canvas, and then you can get vouchers that they'll send you via email once in a while if you create an email account.
Okay, so I'm not going all the way up to the clouds. I'm coming up about an inch short. And I'm just going to kind of leave this middle area a little bit open. So, just like so. And then if you want to, I'm going to take my palette and I'm going to hold it over Jenny's palette like she does when I'm just kidding. I'm going to take a little bit of our processed yellow, a little bit of cyan, and
Oregon ducks.
a little bit of our yellow ochre, a little more cyan. There we go. Just making a nice kind of medium green. And I'm just going to brush this in the middle here.
The meadow green.
Yeah, and it's okay if it blends with your black.
This is the green I saw in all of your Scotland photos, Kim.
Everything Scotland was, or Ireland? Or both?
I don't know, maybe both. But it was like everything was this color, this vivid, almost Kelly green.
I just want to lay this out here for you guys. This is just a underpainting part right now. So don't feel like you got to turn it green. It just softens it up a bit. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and switch brushes to my number 8. And if you guys are painting, if you guys have our brushes, you know it's which one it is. If you don't, it's about 3/16 of an inch wide. And I'm going to take a little bit of our cyan and add a little bit of white to it, about equal parts. And I'm just going to start working in and around our clouds. If you overlap a bit, that's fine. And you can use a bigger brush if you get to the point where you're like just filling big areas, but in and around our clouds, let's just go ahead and do this. And again, don't worry about being exact. We're not doing a coloring contest at the local grocery store. We're just blocking some color in. Added a little extra white. You know, what's funny is like I typically am not a big fan of let's use really vibrant blue for skies. But for some reason I love the cyan color.
It is good.
For doing just a nice bright poppy.
It's similar to cobalt, but it has
it's like more electric.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably the right word.
Vibrant.
It's really nice. I think my favorite blue is cerulean.
Yeah, and I think maybe the cyan's kind of close to it.
Somewhat, I'd say, yeah.
And I think that's why I kind of lean towards it, because that was like kind of my go-to blue in college.
I've never seen cerulean in acrylic, though. I don't know if it's...
No, I don't know if I have either.
I don't know. I haven't Googled it, though. I've just looked in art stores and different brands of paint. Cerulean blue. It's such a pretty name.
I kind of like sometimes like when we're painting like a sky like this, because skies can be, especially like when you're painting it blue, it can be real easy to just be this big blah. So using a smaller brush and using a little bit of variety between blue and having a little extra white or just pure blue really kind of livens up the sky to me. And if it doesn't for you, that's fine. We all see things differently. There is no right or wrong. But it was, I used to tell people, the only wrong is not trying. So this is, yeah, I'm adding a little bit of white. Yep.
On mine, I'm adding the white to kind of lighten the top, like the top edge of the sky, just for fun to see, like have it be really deep down in here, and then mine's like lighter up in here, just kind of give it a different effect. But if you think about like the Impressionists, like Monet, his skies always had lots of different tones.
Yeah. So while this is still kind of wet, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to do, maybe we'll use the number 4. If you feel comfortable with the number 8, I'm going to switch to the number 4, but if you feel comfortable with the 8, you can stick with it. Because what we're going to do now is we're going to soften up these top edges and give them a little enhancement. Now, I don't want these to be super white yet because we're going to do the extra layer of clouds that goes in front, and those are going to be white. But I'm just going to take my number 4 in pure white, and maybe I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can get a better view of what's going on. All right, so I don't use a lot of paint, but I'm just going to start along the edge of this clouds here. And I work very incrementally, so I'll start with that little one and then just kind of soften it up. And I know this is, you guys, this is the tutorial you need for clouds, really.
And it's okay if the blue background is wet.
Yep, it's okay for it to blend in a bit. Because one of the things I think that makes clouds look better is if the edges are softer.
And they kind of dissipate a bit.
Mm-hmm. And I think we have a tendency of getting really rigid with the edges. So while I'm doing this is I'm kind of using the brush in a little bit of a swirling motion. And maybe every once in a while just kind of letting a little bit flicker out.
You taught a class on Sunday that had a bunch of clouds in it.
Yeah, but it was kind of a one that was like, it was an older painting. And it really needed to be rejuvenated.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't do that.
We didn't rejuvenate it. To quote Harry Chapin's song. There are so many colors in the rainbow, so many colors in the morning sun, so many colors in the flowers, and I see every one. That reminds me, I've seen some videos on Instagram and wherever where it shows an example of what dogs see, and they really see prominently blue and yellow. And this girl had like a black lab or a chocolate lab, and she dyed her hair blue, and like her dog was so excited. That was so cute. Like, oh my gosh, the dog can see the hair color. Greta's best friend is colorblind, and it's a type of color blindness that makes it where, so Greta, when Greta had orange hair, he saw it as green.
Huh. I'm going to zoom out, back out. And you see, we're not doing a whole lot with this right now. We're just creating puffiness. And texture. And sometimes you don't need to blend it all out. Sometimes it's good to leave a little bit of an edge right there, like maybe there's a little bit more of a highlight or something. We're not getting real specific with this. But I'm just going to very loosely and quickly kind of work this top edge a bit. The clouds and the rain are back.
Here in Oregon.
We are supposed to have a bit of a warm end of this week coming up, but then we'll get into September and life will be all good again.
When are we supposed to have a little warm?
End of this week coming up.
No!
It's not, yeah, we're one day upper 80s and that's about it. Of course, things can change. All right, so that's about all we're doing for this right now. We can always come back and add more of this white once things dry. But I think one of the things that people have a tendency of doing when they paint clouds is trying to do too much with them, and that's me included. Like, it definitely, there are a lot of elements of more you can do with clouds in a painting, and we don't necessarily need to always do them. So sometimes we try to do too much. All right, so next step. You ready, Jenny?
I guess so.
Okay, next step was
I can be. I'm not done with this side, but I can always
okay,
go
yeah,
back.
it's fine. You can.
I can go back and, yeah.
All right, so the next step we're going to work on is this background of trees. And no, we don't paint them in black. We're going to paint them, we're going to mix a color that's actually very close to the color we used for our base color for our clouds, but a little bit darker. I'm going to go ahead and use my biggest brush to mix. Pull my palette over. So I'm going to start off with Cyan, Magenta, and yellow ochre. And you can add just a tiny little bit of black just to richen it up. But it's really just kind of a dark bluish green. And really what we want to do, I kind of want to get some crossing planes going in. So we've got this cloud line that's coming down like this. Then this tree line is going to kind of come down at an angle and then just kind of scoop up a little bit at the edge for now. And what we're going to do is I'm going to start on the right hand side, and I'm just using my biggest brush. And basically what I'm doing is just tapping and pulling down. Tap and pull down. Mine's almost a little bit too greenish, so I'm going to add a little bit more magenta. It doesn't really matter.
Apparently it does, Paul.
Well, maybe it does. I don't know.
My trees are really spooky and shaggy.
Yeah, that's good. Now, one thing that you're going to want to make sure is that you don't dip below your clouds.
Oops. That would have been nice to know about.
Well, it's
30 seconds ago.
It's easy to add back in.
I mixed that color just now by accident.
And we don't want to put any branches or anything on these because they're far enough away that we're just seeing basic shapes. Now what I'll do is kind of paint across, and then I'll just kind of smudge out this bottom edge a bit.
I was thinking about what I want to paint for Halloween this year.
Ooh, yeah, that's coming up.
I won't do a black cat like we did before. Although I did see one of the vintage cat faces that would be easy because it's all shapes and it's not. There's nothing realistic about it. It's like the old-timey vintage black cat that's got really big eyes and it's kind of making a comeback. I thought that might be fun, but I looked at a bunch of different ideas.
What do you guys think? Do you guys like cute or do you like spooky?
Yeah, let us know. I'm curious. Let's see, you have done, what did we do? So we did the cat last year and you did was your
Spooky
haunted
Hollow.
house? Oh yeah, Spooky Hollow. The haunted house was the year before and the vintage pumpkin witch was mine. And then one of my favorites that I did before was was it just called the Watcher? It had like a
Something like that.
raven and
Yeah, that was. Oh, and I did mushrooms one year.
moon shrooms.
Moon
That's
shrooms.
right, moon shrooms.
Now, if you guys, if you feel like this big brush is just too cumbersome, go ahead and use a smaller one. But a lot of times what you can do is, like, I've got this one here that's a little wonky, so maybe I'll just take my number 4 or something like that and just
Are we going all the way across?
all the way across.
Okay.
And just touch up the top
Marlene
edge.
says spooky. Hi, Marlene. Good to see you in here. The raven was cool, and I loved the shrooms. Yeah, I loved the raven a lot, and the mushrooms. I thought the mushrooms was such a different step out of your wheelhouse, so it was nice to do that.
Cool.
I have liked the landscapes you've done. I loved that haunted house. That's one of my favorite all time.
I liked Spooky Hollow last year. I think that's my favorite Halloween one I've done.
Yeah, that was good. That's really good.
We'll come up with something.
I saw a picture that was so cute that was like a front porch with lit up jack-o'-lanterns on it, and I thought it was so cute. But I don't know how easy it would be.
I'm leaning towards doing a scarecrow.
Oh, wait, last year your guy
had a
scarecrow on it.
But it wasn't the feature.
Yours is a lot greener than mine.
It doesn't matter because we're going to glaze over it.
Okay.
Halloween gnomes. That would be fun, too.
That would be fun. Did I do a Halloween gnome before?
I think you did. Like maybe our first year.
I don't think so.
You did the gnome husband and wife, and I thought you did a Halloween one with them.
I thought I did too.
But maybe it was never one we did publicly.
But I had the first year of Gogh, I did that stacked pumpkin kind of a snowman looking thing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I love all the vintage Halloween designs. Like Greta and I were here at Fred Meyer the other day, and we went over to see if they have anything Halloween out, because stores are starting to add the stuff now, and they didn't really, but they did have a whole section with Halloween cards. And Greta's like, I think mailing Halloween cards needs to make a comeback.
I didn't know it was a thing.
They used to do that because, my Aunt Lynn used to find old ones in the thrift stores and stuff, and she'd restyle them and make different things out of them.
So I'm looking at mine, and I feel like I need to go a little higher on the right-hand side. Something of note, you guys, while you're working on this, once you've basically got this part painted, we're going to want to leave it because we want it to dry. So, AKA, quit working on it.
Do a Garbage Pail Kids inspired painting. Scary Mary, Evil, Eric, etc. Of course, you don't have to call them Garbage Pail Kids.
Oh my gosh, those were so the rage when I was in 5th grade, 6th grade.
I remember I had told your mom when I was pregnant with Greta, I had mentioned a couple names I was considering, and one of them was Gretchen, and your mom was like, no, you don't want people to call her Wretchen Gretchen. And then I was like, okay, I'm not telling you until after my child is born. Because every name I would bring up, no, they're going to call her blah, blah, blah.
Keep in mind.
Because Wretchen Gretchen was one of the Garbage Pail Kids,
my mother was the library assistant at an elementary school at the time that the Garbage Pail Kids would have been all the rage.
Yep.
So.
She knew. She had the inside intel. Oh, some of the names that
Oh, wait.
I've
Hold on.
seen are like, oh, you know what's going to happen with that name.
Before you get...
Oh, you are bringing it down.
Okay, so I just added a little fresh... We want to bring a little bit of white in.
So we're adding fresh teal and bringing white in on top to...
Well, that's only if your teal was dried. So...
Which most of us probably did have that.
Yeah, I'm just bringing some white in to create like a little bit of some pre-mist.
Oh, the sound seems to be going low, Paul. Yours. Check your
Mine?
mic.
My microphone seems to be okay.
Maybe you were just... Maybe you had your collar had flipped over it or something.
I don't know.
Let us know if it still does that.
Is that better? Jenny, you talk.
Test 1, 2. Mine's working.
Mine is... I feel like mine...
Paul's mom was hit before hip was
I feel like maybe mine is not picking up as well. Oh, Marlene says it's okay.
I bet you when you were working on something,
Probably just mumbling.
You hunched over and your sweater suffocated your microphone.
My lack of double chin.
Time to gain some weight again, Paul.
I don't know. Like, I could handle putting on some extra muscle, but I don't know that. Like, my weight loss journey has been all about preventative health measures going forward as I edge into my 50s. I don't know that I want to get into this attitude of, well, it's time to... I hit that checkpoint. Let's get the weight back on.
Your weight loss journey has been all about you forget to eat while you're working. Come on, admit it.
That's not true.
You told me that.
No, I did not tell you that. You're making stuff up.
That's not true.
You were making stuff up. There are times that I forget to eat, but that's not why I've lost weight.
Yeah. It's only part of the reason.
No, it's not. Now you're just trying to make me look stupid.
That's not true.
It is.
Okay, so we're adding the mist, but we're not bringing it up to the top?
No, because we're going to come back down across with mist again.
Okay.
But what we are going to do is I'm going to brighten up this middle section here. So I'm going to rinse my brush off.
Paul is still quieter. Huh. Oh, okay, now it's better. I have
Don't know.
You have some I have some he can have. He keeps losing it, and I think it's coming over to me.
Probably just stress, and I just don't eat.
That could be, actually, some of it.
Okay, I'm mixing up that same green that we used down in this area. That's a little too bright, so I'm going to add a little extra blue to it. There we go. Still a little too bright. Let's add a little bit of yellow ochre to it. There we go.
Here's your golf hole.
Yeah.
That reminds me. So I was just looking at, every once in a while I make sure to check our bank account, make sure there's no weird fraud or weird charges coming in. And this morning I was checking it out, and I see this charge is for like $24.99 to King City Civic ass. What is that? What is that? What happened? Who got a hold of our card?
And who's buying stuff from the Civic ass?
So I Googled it because I'm like, I'm going to figure out what this is. And it was King City Civic Association. It's a golf course.
No, it's a
Homeowners Association?
Yeah.
But you golf there, so you pay their...
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a golf course.
So that's what the charge came through as, and then it all came together. But I thought, that is the funniest abbreviation.
The funny thing is, I even told you, I was like, hey, I had to play King City this
No,
week.
I remembered. I put it all together after I Googled it.
All right. So.
We had too many fish and chips, and we Go to New Hampshire next week for a few weeks. Fried clam. Oh, fried haddock, steamed clams. I am so jealous.
Hey, we're going to our coastal town in a few weeks. All right, back to our biggest brush. Get it nice and clean. We are gonna.
Okay.
I'm gonna make sure that my trees are dry. They are. So I'm gonna take now just some pure white. And the one thing that we're gonna have to be careful is that we're not just mimicking the shape up above. So.
Oh, what are we doing here? Let's show the original. So
Okay.
that we kind of know what we're.
So we're doing the
aiming
second
for.
row of clouds. That's more in
Oh,
the
I
foreground.
see. Okay.
Yeah. And actually, we're doing it better this time because the first time I added color to it and it just didn't look right. So I'm just creating.
So you'll lose weight in October for. Or do you not like seafood, or am I?
No, when you get back.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would be like all over that.
Okay,
seafood.
Stop.
What?
I gotta teach.
I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna keep talking.
All right, so I'm gonna just take this band that we put in, and I'm just gonna wipe all the paint off my brush, and I'm just going to start pulling that color. So it fades and washes over our trees a bit.
So for this, you guys will want to make sure that you have most of the paint off your brush, because it would be really easy to, depending on how opaque your white is, be really easy to completely eliminate your trees.
Yeah, that's why we're wiping the paint off our brush and pulling the existing paint off the canvas. Now you can pick up a little bit of paint off your canvas and add some blotches. And it's okay if you leave some darker areas of trees. I am going to kind of bring in, I got too much on my brush. It's okay. Some extra fresh white around the base here. But it's okay if you've got some areas where you lose most of your trees, that's fine.
And we're just sort of connecting it to the misty stuff on the ground that we painted a little bit ago.
Yep.
Okay.
It's okay to leave some trees not covered because maybe they're poking the cloud is below.
Poking their little tree heads out.
Yeah, exactly. It's okay if you get some that get more covered. It's totally fine. There is no right or wrong. Ended up being a little bluer than I wanted, but I think when we get all done, it'll be fine. And you can always come back and add some extra bold white along your edges. Big bold whites. That would be like the funniest wine ad.
Big bold whites.
So you can see, actually, this is what I actually wanted in the original. And I was too restrictive. So you can see this bit is a lot bolder, and that's what I wanted in the original. But, I mean, I was painting at work, and sometimes that gets distracting, so it's hard to get it done right. Okay. Yeah, so you got better color. Well, I guess it's all right. I just have got this little bit of a turquoisey kind of color in there. I'm not super thrilled with that, but that's okay because we're going to get covered. When the black comes in, I think it'll be fine. How are we looking? Wow, we're only 39 minutes into this painting.
You better slow down. Actually, we're kind of going fast on the sky. The because I need to go back and like rework some of the little clouds we were doing with the number 4.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, because I can do that too. You guys can do that too. We kind of want this to dry.
Let's talk about seafood again.
Yeah, my God. You know what? Now I want fish and chips.
Yes. Or I love fried scallops too.
We
So
used to
good.
love oyster shooters.
Then I got one that was filled with sand. I don't know, it's probably about 3 months ago.
It was like literally like 2 tablespoons of sand that
It
you
was
spit out of your
so
mouth.
bad, and I like just will not be able to eat raw oysters for quite a while.
I think if we got them at the on the half shell at the right place.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Those are little ones.
But the Irish pub.
The Irish pub, we got oyster shooters, and it was one of those things where we had our food order in, and I was like, you know what, let's do this. Let's get some oyster shooters just for fun.
Yeah.
But
And
oysters on the half shell are
gotten
very different.
We've gotten them there before and not had issues. I mean, it just wasn't a pleasant experience. I actually have like residual sympathy PTSD.
It's funny that you brought that up, because Greta and I were just talking about that in the car the other day. I don't even know what brought it up. Greta and I are often talking about seafood because we love it.
Daniel hates seafood. I'm just going to throw that out there. So I'm going to show you guys something
You
can
can't
do.
paint with us anymore.
This area up in here, I'm going to show you an easy way to just kind of like help clouds feel more cloud-like. You can take like your smallest brush and just some white. And you'll notice I'm holding the brush really far back. And I'm not really painting anything in particular. Just adding some texture. I think a lot of times when we paint clouds, we get too like solid fill. If that makes sense. Instead of just adding some highlights and shadows. Obviously you don't want to lose your ridge there. And if you needed to create some new definition between the two, just so it separates, kind of mix up your color we used before.
Speaking of food, Greta and I went peach picking the other day. There's a local farm that has peach orchards, which I didn't even know about. And we went and did it, and it was really fun. There weren't a lot of bees or anything. There were a lot of peaches on the ground, and we had to search around to find some that were... We tried picking up some of the ones off the ground just because I know, like, oh, some of these maybe just freshly fell and they're just perfectly ripe and ready to go, but they almost all of them had mushy spots, broken skin, and wormholes. So we ended up just kind of digging around in and under the trees, kind of going up in between branches and finding them. And we bought like 15
pounds.
15 pounds of peaches. And I just finished blanching and peeling the last of them today, because they were starting to turn really fast. So I did that, and I made peach crisp, and it was so yummy. I have one complaint about it, though. So usually when you make fruit crisp, you pre-mix the berries with a little bit of flour and sugar. This recipe didn't call for that, and I went into it a little skeptical. And so you just layer the peaches in the baking dish and then put the crisp topping on the top. And I thought, this is going to end up kind of watery. Sure enough, it's kind of watery, but it's peach juice, so it's...
I'm surprised it didn't use cornstarch.
Yeah, I was very surprised. I should have just went with my instinct. And the reason I didn't is because it was a recipe on allrecipes.com, and they're usually really good, and it had like 5-star ratings. So I was like, okay, it must be pretty good. And it actually
I got carried
needs
away.
an overhaul, that recipe.
I got carried away. Time to fix. Trying to show you guys how to do stuff and just did too much. It's okay. We can fix it.
Can we fix it?
Yes, we can. Okay. Bob the Builder.
Which one of our kids used to watch that? Was it Greta or Hayden?
It was Hayden.
Bob the Builder. Actually, it was a cute show. It wasn't like super obnoxious like some of them are. I found Dora the Explorer pretty obnoxious after a while.
And Blue's Clues. Blue's Clues wasn't too
didn't
bad.
bother me.
When they started jumping the shark by adding other spices into the spice drawer. Okay, so I just kind of jacked things up, and then I came back and readdressed it, and it's like, okay, fixed. I like it. Okay. Daniel's subconscious made him create a mountain.
Yes.
So.
Too used to painting mountains with Paul. We can't escape them.
So, next layer we're going to do is our trees in the foreground. And I really feel like, gosh, not sure if I like this bluish. Fog.
You can just like glaze over it with some white.
Let's do that real quick. I'm just going to take some white.
Mountains with Paul sounds like a great name for a podcast. It does, actually. It can be Bigfoot hunting.
It can be the mountains out of molehills that I build in my mind lately.
Overthinking. Yes. I'm a victim of that. I will say, if you tend to be like a person with anxiety and overthinking, I went through a period of time where I had severe anxiety, and it was when my son was really young and Greta wasn't born yet. It was a really, really bad time. I think I probably had some kind of late stage postpartum or something. But I read this book called, oh gosh, why am I drawing a blank on the name? It's by Dale Carnegie.
Don't sweat the small stuff because it's all small stuff?
Yes, I think that's what it was. He maybe wrote another one that was on anxiety, but I think that was which one it was. And he said, he wrote this long ago, and he said, think of your days as you're sitting in he called it a day-tight compartment. So you're on a train, and you're in a day-tight compartment, which means you can't open the door to tomorrow. You can't open the door to yesterday. You're only thinking about today. I thought that in my brain registered and made such perfect sense. So a lot of times if I start worrying too much about like what's coming up next week, I start reminding myself, day-tight compartments, day-tight compartments. So it's funny how it sticks with you.
So that was important life lesson stuff. I don't want to cut it off, but what I want to do is we're going to start, I want that to dry a little bit because I need it to be dry so we can paint on top of it. So let's start laying out our base sunflowers.
Sounds like a plan.
So the sunflowers, the one thing that I think a lot of times when people paint fields of flowers, they tend to just start at the back and get bigger, 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 bigger as you come forward or as you come down the canvas. And I want to feel like we're looking out more across this field. So the bigger ones in the foreground are going to be actually as tall or taller than the ones in the background. So what we're going to start doing is I'm going to use my use number 8. And I want to mix together a little bit of our process yellow a little bit of our yellow ochre. I'm going to put a tiny little dab of magenta. Just the tiniest little dab. I want this to almost be orange. We can always come back and brighten things up. So, and I'm just going to start with the corner of my brush.
By the way, the book was How to Stop Worrying and Start Living.
Okay.
I knew it wasn't that. Don't sweat the small stuff.
And I'm just really, it's almost like doing stars. Starting, you can use a smaller brush if you want to. Start with a smaller brush up at the top. The one thing I don't really want you to do is place. What I mean by that is like, I'm gonna put one here, I'm gonna put one here, I'm gonna put one here. I just want you to just start dabbing in colors. As you work your way down, you can push down a little bit harder. And you don't have to go all the way across. Like the original just kind of goes across, you know, maybe leaves a quarter of each side of the canvas blank.
Daniel says, "Oh, I see you get visited by the 3 a.m. monster too." I think you mean the like just waking up at 3 a.m. Right now, it's our dog. It's the 3 a.m. monster.
Oh my gosh. It's kind of cute, but at the same time, it's kind of not.
So he's almost 10 and has never had this issue other than the occasional time he wants to go out, go pee at 3 a.m. Then he comes and whines and wakes us up. But now he's been wanting to play. So instead of wanting to go out, you go downstairs thinking you're going to let him out. And he gets in that position where the butt's in the air and the lower legs and the front are down on the floor and the tail is wagging like crazy. We can't figure it out. And we're just like last night it was 2:30. Or I guess I should say this morning, 2:30. And then I finally got to where I could doze back off to sleep. And I feel this wet nose touch my elbow. And I open my eyes, and the dog's big eyes are right there in my face.
Well, yeah, let's explain this a little bit further. He has never been allowed to be upstairs.
Yeah, because he's one who, well, he can be up there if we're up there, but not when we're sleeping.
When he was younger, we had a cat, and he was not good with the cat, so we've always had a baby gate. And the cat passed away in 2021. And he's just never been upstairs. But then we had the new puppy, and the new puppy and he didn't get along at first, and so the new puppy was upstairs. So we've always had a baby gate. Now the other thing is Greta's door doesn't latch
And
real
pushes
well,
her door
and he
open.
has a tendency of pushing her door open and nosing in and being like,
getting into Greta's makeup and
what's in here?
because he's one who gets into stuff. He is like, I'm gonna go like we had to have latches on our kitchen cabinets because he would go through them and get stuff out and run off into the living room.
So I'm doing just a few dabs of just plain
Okay.
bright yellow, by the way. So anyway, he's always just slept downstairs. It's never been a problem. The young pup sleeps upstairs on her bed in our bedroom. And lately he's been coming up because he wants her. And she a lot of times will, if one of us gets up to use the restroom in the middle of the night, she'll go to the gate and go downstairs and sleep on her downstairs bed.
Go to her second bed.
Go to her downstairs bed. So anyway, the last week or so, the older one, has been begging at the gate, and what he's begging for is for her to come downstairs with him. And so last night, he didn't want to go downstairs. He stayed upstairs. We opened the baby gate and I left it open. We got up in the morning and he was asleep in her bed on our bedroom. And anyway, he's been in a good mood, so it's hard to feel upset with him.
Yeah, except for I have a hard time getting back to sleep. Because yes, the 3 a.m. monster is anxiety. Yes, I have a hard time getting back to sleep because then my brain starts thinking, and then I go on to like
So you
Instagram or
shouldn't have your
something
phone by your bed. You just shouldn't.
because that's what's going to make me sleepy again because it shuts my brain off and I'm just looking at nonsense like whatever articles, whatever that stops me from thinking about worrying.
Okay. There's lots of science that disagrees with you, but okay.
I'm an anomaly.
Self-diagnosed anomaly. Okay. So we're going to do these row of trees and shrubs that are at the back of the field. And so we really just kind of do a couple of these bigger trees. I would say that, you know, maybe 3. Like I'd like do 2 on the left and 1 on the right at minimum. If you want to add 1 more or something. But don't get too carried away with doing too many because we're going to do some like deciduous trees and stuff like that too. So I'm going to go ahead and use my number 8 brush. I'm going to rinse it and make sure it's nice and clean. I'm just going to use pure black now. And I like to go up into my sky a bit. Start with the top of the tree. And I'm just going to use the corner of the brush. I wonder if I should zoom in. Whoop. Corner of the brush and just kind of start working side to side. There we go. That's better. Now I do feel like we've got too much of this fog showing in the background. So Kim, when you're getting up at 3:40 a.m., that's like,
Ugh, yeah, that's hard.
that's like not even 1 o'clock in the morning our time.
I think a lot of that is hormonal too.
Well, plus they just got back from Europe.
Oh yeah, duh, that's probably what it is. Jet lag for you. But I know for a while I had adrenal fatigue, and I had to take all these supplements for it. And that was one of the things was you wake up every single morning super early and can't get back to sleep.
And the second tree right here. Greta started her first job this week.
Yeah.
So her friend picked her up from work today, so they're hanging out. So we can go get fish and chips.
You're still thinking about the fish and chips?
Heck yeah, I'm thinking about the fish and chips.
Valerian root. Oh, okay. Yeah. I should look into that. Does that help you with sleep, valerian root? Because I know like melatonin supposedly does, but I don't really notice any major effects from melatonin.
Melatonin doesn't keep you asleep, it helps you
Yeah.
get to sleep.
I don't have any problem falling asleep. It's just staying asleep.
I find that visiting the astral plane really helps me. I do a little astral projection, mostly to Scotland.
What happens if you can't come back?
Then I'm stuck in Scotland playing St. Andrews, and life isn't too bad.
Greta and I were, that reminds me of, we were looking on YouTube, and we saw that there were all these searches for astral projection
Only
videos.
one search. There's
Was
only
there just
one search, yeah.
Okay, and then Paul was saying that he went into a rabbit hole on it, and he said the CIA used to use it.
No, the CIA produced a very big how-to.
Yes, that's right.
For their agents, and it got
for spying.
It was released recently. Like it's it had to be, all that stuff has to be disclosed at some point in time.
There's a movie about that, Men Who Chase Goats. I think, is that by the one that did Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Or Men Who Stare at Goats, I think is what it's called. That would be interesting.
I mean, I kind of look at it and I go, you know, if there's like government agencies that are like, yeah, this is something we can use, it kind of makes you wonder.
Where would you astral project to? Scotland. Mark uses pot to sleep sativa. It helps him, which is weird. That is weird. Yeah, because isn't it usually like indica the one that would help? That menu taste good.
Yeah, I don't know. We have some edibles that a friend made, and Jenny tried it and didn't like it.
It didn't. It made me wired up, but it was probably that I don't know what if it was sativa or indica or I don't know. They were strong, and
They're strong.
it just made me have really weird thoughts that like were racing thoughts. Which I actually get that when I take NyQuil.
So real quick, you guys, I'm just creating some mounded shapes that could be trees or shrubs or whatever. I'm not really too concerned about what they're supposed to be. They're more there to break things up texturally.
All the way across?
Yep. Yeah, because we're also going to now fill this in. I'm using my bigger brush. So there's this, like, I saw this ad for this company that makes beverages, and they make a CBD THC lion's mane
Oh, interesting.
drink.
So
And
lion's mane is supposed to be good for memory.
yeah, so they call it microdosing on shrooms, but I mean, they clearly are not from Oregon because Oregonians know what microdosing with real shrooms is.
I have never tried that.
No, but we have friends who have.
Mm-hmm.
We've been offered more than once. So I was like, well, that's interesting. I wonder how much it is. And it's like $60 for like a 12-pack.
Wow. That's pretty expensive.
Gosh. You know, you can buy it on Amazon.
Really?
Yeah. I'm going to see if I can remember what it's called.
So yeah, Daniel, we sell CBD infused drinks. It's probably the Wild brand, like WYLD, at our theater, and we used to sell them at Bingo when we had the studio. And I haven't really noticed a huge.
It's called Breeze, BREZ.
The spelling.
Yeah, and so they make just a regular old lion's mane mushroom drink, but then they also make it with THC and CBD and stuff like that.
I have a lion's mane and a reishi tincture, and I just always forget to take them. You put them in your coffee, and they're flavorless. But yeah, I haven't really found, like, I know you had the wild CBD beverage, and you had like it calmed you down.
Oh yeah.
A lot before you taught at art class.
I needed it that day.
But I don't really notice that effect.
You know what I've found is a lot of people don't notice the effect because they expect it to be more significant than it is.
That's probably it, because it really shouldn't be super significant.
No, it's just this very calm, like the stuff that we carry at the studio or at the theater. It's just you'll just be like, oh, I'm very relaxed right now. And it's not like wow, I'm stoned. It's a totally different animal.
Because it doesn't have the THC.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that worked out.
I had to actually, since we're on this subject, there's a little corner store we stop at before we go here. And it's just like we'll stop and grab like hard seltzer or something. And they have this whole section behind glass where they sell a bunch of different bongs and pipes. And I took a picture of this one today.
Yeah.
It's Winnie the Pooh.
It's a Winnie the Pooh pipe, and his honey pot is where you put the weed.
So angry.
And then he's got the mouthpiece comes out the back of his head. So, you can, by the way, you can take a little bit of a smaller brush and just add some texture along this if it feels too moundy. Oh, they have all kinds of stuff there. It's very funny. I literally, you can tell all they sell is alcohol, cigarettes, and weed paraphernalia.
Yep,
I mean,
definitely.
That's all. I mean, they do have a hot deli for the weed people because they've got the corn dogs and the burritos. And
Good at the munchies.
the,
They have munchies and seltzers and twisted teas.
yeah.
And
Oh, they have a lot of different stuff.
glass
I mean,
pipes and bongs.
what am I drinking tonight? I am drinking El
Humidor.
Humidor Grapefruit Paloma, 5.9%. It's actually pretty
Actually, I want to
tasty.
taste that.
There's not very much left.
Oh, I'm getting all backwash now?
Yeah, totally. It's actually pretty good.
That's really good. And it really smells
Like it's
and
not,
tastes very grapefruity.
and it's one of the few that I've had that's not too sweet. Like I got tired of twisted tea because it was too sweet. All right, so we're in good shape. I like where we're at. This tree right here, I feel like it's got some nice gaps in the middle, so I'm going to just indicate a trunk real quick. Not
You
sure
have
that
to point
helped
out
it.
what hill this was inspired by.
It's just the one up behind us. When you're coming up over 99, it's the one on the left. Parrot Mountain.
Parrot Mountain? Okay.
Yeah.
Are there parrots up there? I wonder why they called it Parrot Mountain. Maybe it was somebody's last name.
I think so, based on the way it's spelled.
Oh, how's it spelled?
It's Parrot.
That is how you spell parrot.
Doesn't it only have one R?
No.
I don't know. Somebody's parrot got loose in a pirate ship.
It's gated. You have to go through like a locked gate to get up there. So maybe they have exotic pets up there.
Yeah.
Parrots.
All right, so we're going to work now on our bigger sunflowers. And the bigger sunflowers are really, let me zoom in. They're a lot less complicated than you might think. They're really just big blotches. Some of them are bleeding, apparently. But what I do is I'm going to go ahead and leave it zoomed in. But let's bring my palette in on top real quick, right here. My palette on top. I'm going to use my number 8. I'm going to use a little bit of yellow, little bit of magenta, a little bit of yellow ochre. Now we're going to come back in, and my brush has got other color.
No, actually, I've got the magenta right here.
Trying to steal my magenta when you've got a whole
I just realized I had a whole bottle here.
bottle. It's just habitual. All right. I want to lean this a little bit towards orange. And basically, I'm going to start, I want to get a couple up in here. And I'm just doing these. I know it doesn't look like sunflowers, like specifically like real, like hardcore, it's on a plate or baking dish.
It looks like popcorn, Paul.
That's fine. That's kind of what we want.
Amoebas.
This is just our base. And it's really important, I think, what I had found when I did this the first time is I really kind of ended up with like a straight line of them. And so it's really important to try to not do that. Try to get some variation, break them up, different heights. I do go to kind of start a little taller on this right-hand side.
My dark is all wet there, so it's turning them muddy.
Okay, so just skip over
Yeah.
past that area.
You do that.
Maybe leave a gap. Mind the gap.
Van Gogh would be proud of you for painting sunflowers.
Yeah, you know, it was one of those things where it's like, I thought to myself, I was like, you know, we've never done like a sunflower field that I can recall. Maybe we did.
I did one. I never taught it. In fact, when I was going through albums on Facebook, I saw it the other day. I'll have to pull it up and show you.
That's good. And even if you get a little bit of black mixing in right now, that's fine because it's just laying this out. All right, and while those are still wet, I'm gonna take probably my number 4. Yeah, number 4. Take a little bit of black and add it to that color that we just mixed. Maybe add a little extra yellow ochre to it.
What's this for?
This is the center.
Oh.
And maybe just use pure black. And I'm just adding just use pure black if your other paint's still wet. Just adding our, I don't know what they call that. It's the seed area. But I don't know if I'm sure it's got a different name.
Have you been able to get through your 20 pounds of sunflower seeds I bought you?
I'm working on it.
Actually, it's not 20 pounds.
It was like a pound.
It was $20 for a pound. I bought them at a local farmer's market here in Newburgh, and guy sold me on it because it was like, I coach Little League baseball, and the proceeds for this go to that. And I'm like, okay. Paul was a little leaguer.
Was. I coached Little League too.
That's right. I forgot that you did that for a little while to your nephew's team.
Yeah, and so here's an interesting thing. When I coached my nephew's team, one of the teams we played had a kid who every time he got up just crushed a home run. Like every single time. And I knew who the kid was because his dad used to play for the Portland Trailblazers.
Oh. Athleticism runs in that family.
Yeah. And
Who's his dad?
Michael Thompson.
Oh, okay.
So
He
this
signed my
kid's
basketball.
son is this kid's brother is named Klay Thompson, who plays for the Golden State Warriors as part of the Splash Brothers, and he's one of the best. He's been a really, really good basketball player. But the kid who was on that team, his name was Trace Thompson, who now plays for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, Trace Thompson. So anyway, so I coached against a Major League Baseball player when he was like 9 years old, and that kid was a beast.
He was on the opposing team.
Yeah. So, okay. So you used a lot of just plain yellow.
Yeah. I just felt like it.
That's fine. Okay, so while this dries, I'm going to use like my number 4 brush. And I'm just going to start hinting at some stalks. And that looks terrible right now. I get it. I'm going to take my biggest brush and some black.
You turned it into Teletubby Hill.
Not entirely. And I'm just bringing this black in.
I mean, they really do have pretty thick stalks.
They do.
Because they have to hold up the...
But here's the key, is coming back in and putting in all the foliage of the other ones down below that we don't see. Like so. If you want to use a smaller brush. Oops. Ha. That didn't work the way I wanted it. But we're also going to put some green leaves in here too. That's turning into a disaster. All right, we fixed it. Bring the original back in. So the new one's kind of got a little bit more. It's good. Well, maybe not. I was gonna say the green's a little bit brighter.
I think you just have more sunflowers over the original.
Well, we've got more work to do on them, and then we have leaves to put in the foreground, and the leaves kind of break it up and help it blend. So, let's let that dry a bit. Now, what we could do is, like, if you feel like the background needs a little bit more sunflowers, like mine feels like it's maybe a little bit lacking. I got a little too bright. Oof. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. Cool thing is, like, if you get any of this, it gets like too bold. It's like it's really easy to. Maybe this is close enough that maybe we can see a little dot of our stems in there.
Well, now that's just crazy talk.
Now, to give you an idea of how long ago it was that I coached that Little League, you were pregnant with Hayden.
Oh my gosh.
And Hayden is going to be 24 next month, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess I better get him some birthday presents. He's the most impossible kid to shop for. Because his interests are very narrow focus. It's all trains, and he doesn't like model trains. He's not into that. So, like, I have a really hard time. He just likes real trains. So, honestly, I think, like, doing a train chase day is probably going to be the best gift.
Oh, I think we should do that.
Yeah. I found my sunflower painting from years ago. Let's see, when was it? Oh, I guess 2019. That's surprising.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember ever doing that. We never did that one.
I'll show you guys since I talked about it. Yeah. Similar vibe to yours, just different colors.
Okay, so for our sunflowers, you've already strayed so far off.
You have no room to talk.
Yeah. I'm just saying is that you're...
Don't look at what I'm doing.
I know. I'm going to use our smallest brush. I'm going to load it up pretty good. And what I'm going to do is just kind of work my way around. And some of these I like them to look like they're kind of folded in. So I'm actually laying the brush, the length of the brush on the canvas. Kind of fitting that we talked about baseball while we're painting sunflowers.
Because of sunflower seeds?
Yeah.
Why do baseball players eat sunflower seeds?
Because it's better than chewing tobacco.
But why do they have to chew on anything?
Yeah, it's, you know, a lot of time when you're out in the field, you're just standing there for a lot.
Might as well chew my cud.
You know, it's funny, like when I played junior college ball, like I remember one of the first days of practice going into the dugout, and it was like the sunflower seed rep and the tobacco reps had been there, and it was just practice, and it was like, load up. They filled the dugout, just the whole back of the bench was just loaded with all that stuff, and it's like, of course, that was back before they passed the laws about not allowing tobacco on campus, but I was just like, what? This happens? Then you realize, well, they're just trying to get you hooked, so you'll buy it.
Yep. That's exactly it.
Never got into the tobacco.
Because they are cows. Drew your gut out there. Your cow is out in the field. Okay, if you could have met any baseball player ever, living or dead, who would it be? Babe Ruth?
No. Nolan Ryan.
Oh, pitcher.
Yeah, he was my idol, and
Didn't he write a book?
I had a book of, yeah, I had his pitcher's Bible.
That's right. I remember that.
But he's the only one that, like, I really like.
What'd you like about him?
He played until he was in his mid-40s and was still throwing gas over 100.
Wow.
I mean, and he beat up Robin Ventura.
I don't know who that is.
So Robin Ventura was a guy who played for the Chicago White Sox in the 90s, and this was back when Nolan was an old man at this time, and he threw a pitch kind of close to Robin, and Robin charged the mound, and Nolan dropped his mitt and put him in a headlock and just started pummeling him on top of the head. And
teach this little boy a lesson.
Yeah, 100%.
What about that other guy? Did you like the guy that was really super tall that like
Randy Johnson?
Yeah.
He was all right, but there was nothing compelling about him to me. Like, if you're 6'10" and you can move, you should be able to throw a baseball that hard. You just have
those long arms.
Leverage, yeah.
Wow, he was tall.
Yeah, he was 6'10".
I didn't realize he was 6'10". I thought he was more like 6'6".
No.
Remember when he hit the bird?
Yeah. Guy on the PGA just hit a bird it was on the green.
Was it a birdie?
No, actually, no, I take it back. It was actually the LPGA, the ladies tour, and it hit the bird in flight.
Oh.
And it survived. It was fine. Okay. It knocked it out.
My hister. That's like actually the right word for her. She's a hister. My sister hit a Canadian honker on the Eastmoreland golf course.
I mean, they're everywhere. That's like the course I play. There's so many ducks, it's not even funny.
Is Nolan Ryan still alive?
Oh yeah.
How old is he now?
He's got to be mid-60s.
Oh, okay. He's not.
He
not
might be
as old
older.
as
He might be closer to 80 actually. Let me see. Yeah,
Time
he's
to
got to
bring
be.
out the Google.
He's got to be closer to mid-70s.
Well, you could still make it happen then, Paul.
He's 77.
You could still have him autograph your pitcher's Bible.
I don't know whatever happened to that book.
I don't know either, but we had it like after we got married.
Yeah, it was there was a section on his core workout in there that was like,
I remember you talking about the workout.
holy cow. All right, so I'm going to take my number 4 and just some of the yellow, the processed yellow. I think the thing is like when Nolan Ryan was in his prime, it was the time when I was really impressionable as like a 12, 13-year-old kid. And he was like, he threw the ball away I wanted to throw the ball.
I don't know who Greg Maddux is.
Greg Maddux pitched for
the Padres. Is that what he said? Yeah,
Padres. He pitched for the Braves mostly. And he was the opposite of Nolan Ryan. He just did not throw super hard, but he put the ball exactly where he wanted it every time.
I remember all the drama around Sammy Sosa and
Mark McGwire.
Mark McGwire for the
home run.
The home run, what is it called?
Record.
Okay.
Both of those guys were peeing steroids.
Yeah.
Well, Sammy more than Mark. Mark was using.
It was a protein shake.
It was, but it was like a protein shake that encouraged human growth hormone to naturally produce.
Oh.
I can't remember what the product was. It ended up getting banned eventually, but.
I remember the disappointment though. It's like, oh my gosh, that's just cheating.
It's kind of funny though, because there's a lot of people that say that era, what they call it, the steroid era in baseball. It's literally what they call it.
It was like in the 90s, but I don't remember
Late
when.
90s, yeah. A lot of people say that was the best era of baseball for a fan.
It was the steroids.
It was. I mean, it was so.
Look at these guys throwing their heat.
What's funny is back in the mid 90s, Greg Maddux, who Dan mentioned, he and Tom Glavine, who pitched for the Braves, they both did together. And they had this commercial that was so funny because they're both pitchers and they're watching batting practice and they're like, chicks dig the long ball. And it was like, then it showed them deciding that they were going to start hitting home runs and stuff. But, it's like a slam dunk in basketball.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's exciting to see the power. I think I sent you a video. A guy hit 104.7 miles per hour on the radar gun pitching this week.
Ooh, that's high.
That's
very fast.
That's insane.
Speaking of you were talking about basketball too. I heard you use an analogy of going out and doing a three-pointer. In the last class you taught, last live class you taught, you're telling them in the beginning of the class about how, like, don't come out here and expect that you're going to be like a Michelangelo. Like, I like to go play basketball and think I'm going to hit a three-pointer.
No, I said imagine that you're at a Blazer game and you get called out of the stands to hit a three-pointer for $10,000. Do you really expect that you're going to make it if you've never done it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's what we found in the live classes. It's not so much on here because you guys are all in your own homes, your own space. But in the live classes, people are very competitive. And it's like they're competitive against themselves. And they're competitive against the people next to them. And we'll hear it all the time. They'll say something like, oh, your trees are so much better than mine. Oh, your mountain is so much better than mine. Mine looks like crap, blah, blah, blah. And then when they get away from it and when they get away from other people with their paintings, they have a whole new perspective on their painting, and all the little things they've calculated about themselves throughout the whole class tend to go away a little bit. And so, like, we've had people come back in. Right now we have a couple ladies, a mother and daughter, that are coming to every single class because they've got the painting bug, and they just found something they enjoy doing together, so they come to every class. And they have said that they like their paintings so much better the next day.
It's true.
And
Okay.
I think it's the comparison is the thief of joy, that sort of thing.
Couple of things. My favorite one is the people that we shouldn't do this, but we're already there. The people that come in and are like, I just don't understand why I wasn't able to do that. My mom was a good painter.
Oh yeah, we get that once in a while. And
it's like, did you paint? No, but my mom was a good painter. It's like, okay, that doesn't work.
Yeah, it can, but mom probably had a lot more experience and practice.
Yep. All right, so I'm mixing together our regular yellow, a little bit of blue. I'm going to add a tiny bit of white.
Yellow, cyan, white. What are you making?
That's it. Just a pale green.
Okay.
I'm using my number 4. And I'm going to add just a tiny bit of ochre just to keep it from being quite so electric lettuce.
That's funny because there is a weed shop in Portland called Electric Lettuce.
That's why.
It's right next to the Moda Center.
That's why I said that. So I'm going to turn my brush so that the bristles are sideways like this, not like this. And I'm just going to dab in some leaves. Sunflowers are kind of like corn in that there's a lot of leaves. Like, it's not just like, oh, here's a stalk with a couple of, it's like there's a lot of leaves. And you can take this color up into your field a little bit. Kind of eases that transition. Oh, this is like the best decision.
They kind of have big, the leaves are pretty big and broad.
Yeah, that's why I got the brush going sideways. And I kind of like to leave a little bit of the gap of black at the bottom so it's not so like, I like leaving like a vignette almost.
Our dental office has big sunflowers, tall ones growing right outside their door right now.
Cool. That's my favorite place.
They gotta give you some happiness before you come in. It's not the experience of the dental that's the bad thing. It's in the end.
So expensive.
So expensive. So I actually want to have a little complaint here about wisdom teeth removal.
Do it, Jenny.
I don't understand why it is so expensive. Okay, I get like there's insurance and stuff like that. The guy comes in, he says, I'm the Michael Jordan of teeth pulling. That's his, like, he tells people that.
He's pretty good.
He works on your teeth for half an hour and you owe $5,000. That means he's making $10,000 an hour. I mean, I know it doesn't all go to him, but I'm like,
mostly does.
Is this, I gotta see what kind of car he drives. Is the wisdom teeth, it something that is necessary? Because what I've seen, I've Googled it because I'm like, I'm gonna find out about this. Because, you know, we spent $5,000 on braces for each kid. Actually, I think it was $6,000 each kid. And then you got to spend another $5,000 to get their wisdom teeth out. And I'm thinking, this is absolute insanity. And I just don't know, like, are the wisdom teeth, is it so important for them to come out? Like, I understand if they're impacted and growing sideways and they're going to, like, push your teeth all around and make them, like, the braces work, like, where it's...
Hey, nobody pulled wisdom teeth until about 100 years ago, so...
But I read an article that said why dentists are choosing to not pull wisdom teeth anymore.
Because
It's a risky surgery with infections, and it's something that's
Kim says keep them.
yeah, yeah. Because like Greta's dentist is trying so hard to talk us into pulling the wisdom teeth, and they're coming through the surface. They're not causing any problems. The reason we went in there is because they were coming through the surface, and it was causing a little bit of teething pain.
Just get her a teething ring.
We went. we went.
I'm sure we can get some black ones.
Greta's concern was, I just want to make sure that like nothing, like gums aren't infected or anything. And yes, they are just pushing the wisdom teeth. And I'm like, how do people afford this? Yeah, you can go get loans, you can get care credit, all that stuff, but at what point do you just realize this is, you know, I can't retire because I've spent so much money on freaking teeth for my children. It's so crazy.
And me.
And you, yeah.
You know, if I were the Michael Jordan of pulling teeth, you know what? I would have a decoy car.
Like an old Pontiac Le Mans
just
or
like
whatever.
Like a Prius. Just
Yeah.
something very nondescript that I would drive when I'm working at the local family dental place. And then my after work car would be like a Porsche.
Yeah, so Paul and I used to see a dentist in Lake Oswego, which is where Paul grew up. And Lake Oswego is kind of like it's like the
It's the Beverly Hills of Oregon.
yeah, I mean it's a more expensive town, and
you pretty much can't buy a house in there for under $1 million.
Not anymore, but like you used to be able to. Like your parents bought their house for super cheap in the 70s.
In the 70s.
The 70s was the time to move there, and then they just held on to it until they were ready to move. They made a good, smart decision. But like we would have to walk past this dentist's Porsche.
Or
one day it would be a Porsche,
and then the next would be the Aston Martin.
Yeah, and it's like his office was right on the bay, overlooking, and then he'd be like, "You need a root canal."
I'm like, "You need to make a car payment, don't you?"
Now, I don't want to say that dentistry is a scam, because I don't believe it's a scam, but the wisdom teeth thing has me just
a lot of
so angry. Yeah, I mean, it's just we have the highest level of insurance with dental work because it's not super expensive. The insurance isn't crazy expensive.
No, but they don't give you a more expensive option.
Yeah, and so we have the highest level you can get, and they'll cover under $1,000 towards Greta's wisdom teeth removal. At that point, it's like, hey.
All right, you guys, we're done. Oh, wait, no, we're not. Got one more thing I want to do, and then we're going to sign it. I want to mix up I
have two kids who kept them, and one had to have them pulled. Yeah, see, I think Greta, like I looked at the x-rays yesterday, was it yesterday we went in?
Yeah. So, you guys, real quick, before Jenny derails this. I'm mixing together a little bit of magenta and a little bit of our bright yellow. And just oops.
Got to make these bleeding.
Yeah.
What is this that you put on here that's
color?
Okay, so it's not anything in particular, just color.
I noticed a lot of sunflower plants right around the seed area.
Yeah, they have like a ring.
Yeah, and so I just wanted to put a little bit of warmth in there, also just to kind of warm it up.
Well, that's a good idea. Yeah, so looking at Greta's x-ray, the updated x-ray they took, not yet, it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before. Like her wisdom teeth are coming in straight. So we'll keep you updated. People are going to have to start running GoFundMes for their kids' dental work.
Actually, you know what a lot of people do? They go down to Mexico.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Because you think about, like, okay, you think it, like, people think that, like, Mexico's, like, you know, third world. And in some ways it is, but in parts. But if you go to, like, Mexico City is, like, just straight up a first world city. Yeah. And they have good doctors. And
I know your sister and husband had LASIK done there.
No, they went to Canada.
Oh, that's right, Canada.
I need to get LASIK.
You have to check with your eye care provider because sometimes they'll tell you that, like, well, if you get LASIK at this age, you're going to have to wear bifocals. So, I mean, you know, that might be a whole thing too, where it's like they want to keep you in glasses and contact lenses. That's how they have a job.
It might be.
Anyways, my rant on wisdom teeth is over, and I apologize. It's one of the things this week that was my 3 a.m. monster, where I wake up and I'm like, how are we going to do this?
Daniel wears bifocals. If you need to freshen up the black in the center of any of your...
You wear bifocals. Actually, that's kind of it's kind of cool that they created that. So then it's like you have your up close vision and because I'm farsighted in one eye and nearsighted in the other. It's a mess. But it's just a little bit. So it's not super crazy. But I have found I completely rely on reading glasses now, and I cannot do anything without them. And if I go out somewhere and I don't have my reading glasses, I feel so much like
I'm just adding some little white
am insecure and can't read
highlights
anything.
on our sunflowers.
Hey?
You don't have to. They're not in the original, but I kind of feel like that kind of looks nice. Yeah, when I go golfing, and I play with people I've never played with, I'm like, just like on the first hole, I'm always like, just so you guys know, I can't see the ball past about 120 yards. So if you hear a strange clicking noise, it's just me trying to echolocate my golf ball.
Well, wait a minute. You have like literally 7 pairs of glasses
Yeah,
of
and I wear
different
'em.
kinds. Like, these are the sunglasses, these are the up close, these are the computer glasses, these are the normal vision. Like, which one do you need to wear for golfing?
Just my regular glasses, and I've got like 3 different pairs that depending on the lighting conditions. But they I still don't see the ball very far.
Oh, use your magnifier on your phone. That's smart. I forgot that you can do
Actually,
that.
What I use is I have a rangefinder, which is like a monocular that I use after I hit the ball to find my ball. But I also have been playing long enough that I can kind of have a pretty good idea of where it went based on how it felt.
Daniel sent the painting. Oh yeah, hey, I like that. It's nice and bright and vivid. We're gonna show it because you're probably posted on the. Very nice.
All right, guys, we are done, and I'm gonna sign mine. I think I'm gonna use my leaf color. No, I'm gonna use yellow. Actually, I feel like I like the one I did tonight better than the original, which is not always the case. There we have it.
I feel like I want to put some kind of little critter in here.
You could.
Bigfoot. Put Bigfoot in the background.
You could if you wanted to.
That's okay.
All right, let's get our paints out of the way. Let's zoom out so we can squeeze Jenny's painting in. Let's zoom this out. Mine, let's see. Jenny, yours looks really good.
I have a lot of flowers.
I really like how your clouds turned out.
Yeah, I was unsure about him. Like, I felt like I had maybe too many fingerlings up here.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
So, that was a fun painting, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go there wherever it is.
Go there with Mark and have some ganja?
do some live on-site plein air painting.
Now
And not think about wisdom teeth.
the question is, does Mark wear board shorts and flip-flops? Because that means...
Now that he's retired.
Yeah, I mean, that should be... That's always been my goal when I get retired is just live in board shorts and flip-flops.
You do that now.
Well, I don't wear board shorts, but... All right. You want to hand me the mouse and zoom us back out? Because we's done.
Woo. Zoom us back out? You mean like this?
Yeah, here we are. Jazz hands.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah.
I think
that was a good one.
Pretty happy with mine.
I think that's one.
Pretty happy.
This would be a good one to do in person, I think.
Yeah. I was thinking about changing the colors on mine and doing kind of one of the things I do sometimes where I do like a purplish sky and some oranges. And then I thought, I'm just going to actually stick with the OG.
Oh, that's right. You guys have a pool. Barefoot and bathing suit, yeah?
Oh, nice. Nice.
I am a big advocate of being barefoot. I used to do the barefoot shoes, and Jenny was like, you look stupid in those stupid toe shoes.
I did not say that. He's lying. I would never say that.
Okay, she didn't say I looked stupid, but she said that the toe shoes
I said they were weird. They were the Vibram toe shoes. And
oh, they're so good.
They were weird.
Yeah, I would golf in them if they had more texture. I should try it sometime.
Yeah.
The old man golf course I play at, who cares?
Where we live, we have everybody in town knows the local barefoot runner guy, and he's been running.
He's literally known as just barefoot runner guy. He's
been running around the neighborhood for I don't know how long, years,
at least
over a decade.
Yeah, close to 15 years that I've known of him.
And he just, whether it's rainy, sunny, he's out there running barefoot.
It's so funny because
down on the sidewalks.
Yeah, he wears a headband and he kind of has longish hair, like not long hair, but grown out hair, and runs barefoot. See, that's why I liked the toe shoes, is they definitely did feel like you're barefoot, and I do like being barefoot. So.
Yes, you do.
I
like wearing flip flops, but I think like it causes your feet to kind of dry out because I have really dry feet.
Well, the flip-flops, the way they cup up around the back of your heel, they mess up your feet.
I have to wear foot cream with socks at night, like a couple times a week, with urea cream, and it actually works really well, shockingly well. But yeah, because my feet get really dried out just from, I guess, exposure to the air because of flip-flops. Because you and Greta are always telling me, you need to wear socks.
Well, yeah, but you also remember, like, been a flip-flop wearing machine for years, and like my heels are always cracked. They really do mess up your heels. But lately, when we walk our dogs, I have to run the last. Wait, how far do you think that is?
I don't know. It's got to be
more than 100 yards.
Yeah.
It's got to be 150 yards or so. It's not 200. I know that, but she makes me run with her the last.
Our dog.
Well, our dog.
Not me.
Makes me run the last. Yeah, I can measure it on Google Maps. It's probably like 75 yards or something when I actually measure it. But it's longer than 100 yards. But I've been doing it in my flip flops, and that's a challenge.
And we can hear it all down the street at like 9 o'clock at night. But yeah, our dog, she has OCD, and so she has like certain routines. And her routine that she has created with our nighttime walk is we walk about a half mile every night, and once she gets on our street, which is like 150 yards down to our house, she does a full-on sprint. And we've tried to make her stop because, if Paul has like a sore ankle or something, and
I don't usually have sore ankle.
she won't abide. She has to do her sprint. It's so funny.
My biggest issues I have as I'm nearing 50 are my hips and my calf muscles.
Oh, Hey Dudes. Hayden, our son, I bought him a pair of Hey Dudes. And those are fun. I like them. He likes them a lot, too.
They're kind of like, aren't they similar to like what Toms were?
Maybe.
But just without the gimmicky marketing program?
That wasn't gimmicky. They were like donating.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. I remember they were like donating for something.
So I will say this, though. If you do wear shoes and you're not being barefoot or wearing flip-flops, I think socks are more important than shoes. The quality of your socks.
Yeah. What are those socks your parents always buy?
Bombas.
Bombas.
But I
Is
just
this
found
bamboo?
I found
Bombas.
some on Amazon that are called Hollow, and they're made with alpaca wool. They're so nice. They're like running socks, but they're made with alpaca wool, and you would think, oh, it's going to be really hot on a hot day. It's like, no, it kind of keeps your feet cool. And anyway, all right, guys. Yeah. I think
So
we're
yeah,
done.
next month we're gonna start getting into more of our fall/autumn type of paintings. My favorite season to paint, definitely all through winter and fall.
Yeah.
And so that'll start up. And
And I realized it's been like almost 2 years since I've done a mountain painting.
has it really?
Yeah, the last one was
I
that.
feel like you're always doing mountain paintings.
No, but
maybe it's just paintings outside of the channel that you
no,
do.
I haven't done a mountain painting outside of the channel.
Okay.
I think the last one we did was the Frost Mountain in Frost Hollow.
Next month from New Hampshire. You'll have to let us know all about how the weather is. I can't remember who you have that lives there that you're staying with. Is it one of your kids or one of your siblings? Or yeah, I'm curious. New Hampshire, very cool.
Sweet.
Love the East Coast. I think that would probably be a very beautiful place, especially getting into fall when the leaves start changing.
Yep, for sure.
All right.
All right, everybody.
We will let you know what our schedule is next month and what our colors are. We might change it up a bit. I know we keep saying that, but we always feel like we want to do it in advance enough that you guys can, oh, Mark's sister, so that you can get the paint that you need and we can tell you where to buy it.
Yep. So with all that said,
we'll see you later.
see you guys. See you next
Bye.
time. Bye.
See ya.